This is the CBS Evening News. And this is Bob Schieffer reporting. Good evening. The Republican-led Senate took steps today that will almost certainly bring back some of the restrictions on abortion that were in effect during the Reagan and Bush years. In the first of a series of test votes on abortion, senators decided to bar payment for abortions, except in cases of rape or incest, in government workers' subsidized health care plans. The action came on a rare Saturday session, and Cheryl Atkinson has our report.
It may surprise the Senator from New Hampshire to know that he is not my God.
What was expected to be a quick, routine vote quickly ballooned into an emotional outpouring on the Senate floor.
I'm answering the question. I do not answer that question. I reclaim my time, Mr.
As senators found themselves debating the first abortion issue since the Republicans took control last November.
Senate will be in order.
The question, should abortion be a covered benefit for federal employees in taxpayer-subsidized health plans? It wasn't during the Reagan and Bush years, but has been covered under President Clinton. Conservative Republicans wanted to change that.
And I think it's backed up in the polls that even people who are in favor of abortion, many people who are in favor of abortion do not support federal funding.
Republican Senator Don Nickles' plan didn't include exceptions for rape and incest, and that outraged Democratic Senator Kent Conrad, who said his wife was once assaulted by a would-be rapist.
Anybody that would say to my wife, if she had been raped by that vicious criminal, that she ought to carry that baby, that is vicious and monstrous. How can anybody stand on the floor of the Senate and say that somebody is victimized, ought to be victimized a second time?
Some Republicans bill the debate as a money issue.
We're not debating a woman's right to choose. We're not changing the law. We're debating how we're going to spend money.
But Democrats warned it was much more than that.
They can't win a vote to arrest doctors and nurses and put them in prison, and arrest women and put them in prison. So they go after the women they have power over.
In the end, the Senate passed the restrictions on abortion, making exceptions only for rape, incest, and life-threatening pregnancies. And even though it only affects federal workers, the net result is clear. Both houses of Congress have now signaled the president they have the votes to start limiting access to abortion. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Washington.
The Balkan War entered a new and even more dangerous phase today. Tanks and troops of the Croatian government rolled into the town of Knin, the town the rebel Serbs took from Croatia in 1991. And for the first time, Bosnian troops crossed into Croatia to join in battling the rebels. That means that the wars in the neighboring countries have now merged for the first time, and the question now is whether the Yugoslav army will also try to come to the rescue of the Serb rebels, which would mean an even wider war. Cindy Kennard is in the war zone in southern Croatia.
A new flag flies over Knin tonight. Croatian forces are continuing to advance throughout the area, but it is now just a mopping-up operation throughout the former Serb-controlled region. What's left behind is another trail of destruction, lost possessions, and grief.
During the last 2 days, many towns of Krajina were assaulted by Croatian army. Many civilians are wounded and dead.
On the Croatian side, people stayed in their homes. They were bracing for retaliation. The streets were empty. But by midday, when it was announced Knin had fallen, people returned to the streets and the rejoicing began.
We are all happy because it's our territory.
The Croatia will be free now. I hope so.
Although Croatian President Tuđman has told the people of the Serb town they could stay, past history tells them it is much safer and better to go. And they're doing just that.
They are leaving by the thousand. A steady stream of vehicles carrying the latest refugees from this war is heading north to Bosnian Serb-held territory around Banja Luka. Everybody agrees another human crisis is looming in the region.
We have received a request for the evacuation in safety of 32,000 civilians.
The local Serb authorities have or are actually setting up a camp in a stadium which can accommodate up to 50,000 people.
But beyond the humanitarian problem, such a massive shift of population is likely to create even further political and military instability. Cindy Kennard, CBS News, Southern Croatia.
The Croatian foreign minister told the Associated Press the United States gave tacit approval to its assault on the rebel Serbs in Knin. Mark Phillips now has a report on what could be behind the U.S. reasoning.
There are those who see a silver lining in the cloud of war that is the former Yugoslavia. The current offensive by Croatia may be doing militarily what the diplomats have been unable to do. However crudely, a geographic platform may be created upon which a solution to this conflict can be built. The Croatian push into the breakaway Serb region of Krajina and the taking of its capital Knin has already begun a massive exodus of refugees into Serb-controlled areas of Bosnia. This, combined with the Bosnian Serbs' recent overrunning of 2 Muslim enclaves in eastern Bosnia, makes the map of the region neater, if no less kind. Ethnic cleansing may be reaching its ultimate conclusion, and the ground may be laid for ethnically pure states to be carved out of what's left. The Serbs of the Krajina are a defiant mountain people whose presence dates back to the Austro-Hungarian Empire of the 19th century. They had suffered terribly during the Second World War, when the Croats did much of Hitler's dirty work in the Balkans. With them out of the way, Croatian President Franjo Tudjman can establish his Serb-free state. He had gambled that the president of Serbia proper, Slobodan Milosevic, would not come to the Krajina Serbs' aid, and thus far the gamble's paid off. What this conflict does to the continuing war in Bosnia is not clear. The apparent defeat in Krajina and the influx of tens of thousands of Serb refugees into Bosnia may make Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic more willing to accept the negotiated settlement he's thus far rejected. Or it may make him and the Krajina Serbs simply more determined to fight on. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a historic U.S. return to Vietnam. And the people of Hiroshima mark the 50th anniversary of the nuclear bombing.
When I got rid of my gray hair, I wanted a natural look, so I didn't take any chances. I used the sure thing for a natural look, called Just for Men.
Apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, rinse. It's specially timed to blend away gray, bring back your natural look, and condition hair.
It's a sure thing.
Just for Men, the sure thing for a natural look. And now try Just for Men Color Gel for the hard-to-color hair of mustaches and beards. Brush in, rinse out. Just 5 minutes.
Well, we're here with tropical fish dealer Rudy Laszlo, who thinks his zipper bags are fine and won't switch to Gladlock zipper bags.
That's correct.
Rudy, what do you say we drop these piranhas here into your little fish heaven?
Nope.
Sealed in either your bag or the Gladlock bag with the yellow and blue make green seal, which means the bag is closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
These are my little friends. Use the Gladlock.
When it really counts, get Gladlock. Can you hear that? They're applauding you. Rudy.
Thanks to Sprint Business, now the world is flat. Introducing flat rate pricing for small businesses on all your long distance, even for Sprint 800 service. Enhanced fax and cellular long distance. One low flat rate for everything, all over the country, so you know just what you're paying.
Now that's simple.
Call now for flat rate pricing. 1-800-827-3700. Call Sprint Business.
The Communications Workers of America have set a midnight strike deadline against 4 regional telephone companies. The union is meeting with representatives of Bell Atlantic, Pacific, Telesis, Ameritech, and Bell South. The issues include job security and health care. A new era in American relations with Vietnam officially began today in the capital city of Hanoi, once the target of U.S. bombers. Secretary of State Warren Christopher arrived to prepare to open the doors of the new U.S. Embassy. Bruce Dunning now with that.
Christopher is the highest-ranking American to visit post-war Vietnam. He's the symbol which tells Hanoi that Washington has finally decided the war is over. But as Christopher was arriving, 4 Americans were waiting to leave on their last voyage home.
3,
4 more sets of remains, believed to be Americans lost during the war, were given military honors as they were carried aboard an Air Force transport plane. The Secretary's first official act in Vietnam was to witness their departure.
No issue is more important in our relations with Vietnam than achieving the fullest possible accounting of the prisoners of war and missing in action. Let me be clear. This issue will remain the top priority on our agenda with the government of Vietnam.
It is certainly the #1 priority of the Secretary's visit. Christopher devoted much of his first day here in Hanoi to the MIA issue. The Clinton administration obviously wants to emphasize that it's still committed to the promised full accounting for missing Americans. He visited the headquarters of the American Task Force on MIAs. This unit is trying to find out what happened to the 2,200 missing Americans. It's a slow, painstaking job. Since the end of the U.S. military involvement in Vietnam in 1973, only 387 of the missing have been found and identified. The question is, of course, will the U.S. insist on accounting for every single missing man?
Whether or not it's possible, we're going to try. We're a long ways from ending this effort.
The high point of the day, of course, was Christopher and Foreign Minister Nguyen Minh Kham signing the documents establishing full diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Vietnam, an act that waited 20 years before ending with a quiet toast between two old enemies. Bruce Dunning, CBS News, Hanoi.
India Kashmiri rebels released new photos today of 2 of the 5 Western tourists that they've been holding hostage for a month. One photo is said to show American Donald Hutchings wrapped with an apparently blood-stained bandage. In an accompanying audio tape, Hutchings says he was wounded when the rebels were attacked by Indian soldiers. The rebels today scaled down their demands, now asking that India free 15 jailed militants.
Frank said he'd really like to take a relaxing vacation this year. I've got just the place. Honey, when you're this relaxed, don't you feel more romantic?
Oh, it's been great, sweetheart.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
These Carnival cruises just keep getting better and better.
Like you, honey.
Something new is here to tempt you at breakfast.
Temptations.
New Kellogg's Honey Roasted Pecan Temptations cereal.
Temptations.
Roasted pecans, luscious golden honey, crisp, crunchy oven-baked flakes of the corn.
Temptations.
New Kellogg's Temptations cereal. Irresistibly delicious honey roasted pecan.
Temptations.
And low-fat French vanilla almond too.
Monday, I soak my dentures. Tuesday, I brush. Wednesday, I soak.
Wait, all you need is denture cream. Why soak when denture cream gets dentures twice as clean and has minty mouthwash ingredients? All you need is denture cream.
Every day.
You know what I hate? Pain. That's why I love Aspercream. When I get minor muscle aches, I just rub it in for fast relief that lasts for hours. And it's odor-free. Why live with pain? You're gonna love it. Aspercream does not contain aspirin.
Well, it is already Sunday morning in Japan, and residents and visitors from around the world are gathered in Hiroshima. They are observing the 50th anniversary of warfare's first use of the atomic bomb, a moment in history from which there was no turning back. James Satori is there.
Today, tens of thousands of people are in Hiroshima to visit the city's Peace Park or a cemetery where friends or family are buried, but mostly they are here to remember. More than 140,000 people perished when the bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, detonated over Hiroshima. Some died instantly, vaporized by the intense heat, and remain unaccounted for.
Most of the dead bodies could not be identified.
Others developed radiation sickness, a gruesome condition that could last weeks before death. Fortunately, there are no signs of problems among children of the survivors, though no one here could escape the emotional scars.
This is not only a damage on one person, but the whole society.
Today, Hiroshima is rededicating itself to telling the painful stories of what happened here at Ground Zero. Peace activists have gained new impetus from planned nuclear weapon tests by China and France. In protest, a student group formed a symbolic chain of peace around the A-Dome, a landmark building among the few that survived the A-bomb blast. It's up to us young people to build a world without nuclear weapons, he says. In another part of the park, children brought thousands of paper cranes, a symbolic offering to a young victim of the bombing, a girl of 12 who died of leukemia. Everyone came here to understand about peace, this boy says.
I think it's real moving. It gives you a sense of the loss, the grief that the people still deal with.
Grief for the past, but hope for the future. An inscription on the memorial reads, "Let all the souls here rest in peace, for we shall not repeat the evil."
In little less than an hour, a peace bell located on the stage in front of the memorial will ring, marking the exact moment 50 years ago when the atomic bomb exploded over this spot. Then there'll be a minute of silence for all those who died here. Bob?
Thank you very much, James. Some Americans mark the Hiroshima anniversary by going to Independence, Missouri today to thank the man that they believe saved them from certain death. Diana Olick has that story.
They numbered only a few hundred. There are fewer of them every year. But today they chose to pay tribute to the president from Independence, Missouri, who to them embodied not just freedom, but basic survival.
Mr. Harry Truman, thank you for saving my life.
50 years ago, many of these men were prisoners of war in Japan.
Had there not been the atomic bomb, and we stayed there for several months, and the invasion started, we would have been executed.
Walter Ross and his B-29 crew were shot down and taken prisoner in Hiroshima a few days after the bomb was dropped. He remembers the faces of his captors and how close he came to dying at their hands.
And while we were on our knees, we had every thought that they were going to behead us.
Despite their passionate faith in the bomb, many of these veterans are finding themselves increasingly at odds with a new breed of historians and scholars who 50 years after the fact are rethinking Truman's decision.
The fact was that he was really almost out of his league at that point and having to rely on people that he didn't necessarily know and trust that well when the decision was made.
But these vets today point out 1/3 of all Allied POWs died in Japanese camps, and they remember their captors telling them if there were an American invasion, all POWs would be killed.
President Truman gave me and 99,999 other Allied prisoners of war a second birthday.
50 years ago, a weapon of staggering force taught the world just how far men would go to win a war. 50 years later, a few men are thankful for how far their president went to save their lives. Diana Olick, CBS News, Independence, Missouri.
You get your cheesesteak in no time, you eat it in no time, you get heartburn in no time. Same with relief, you want it in no time.
Not with this. Tried Pepsid AC, took over an hour to start working. You could serve the whole lunch crowd in that time.
And honey, you don't have that long. Try Tums. It starts working in seconds to help relieve heartburn fast. And Tums has calcium.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
So if you want to get rid of heartburn fast, not slow, let me put it to you this way.
Tums. Want to know a secret? Never stop learning. Well, I just learned something about Depend undergarments. Look, new Depend with the unique cloth-like moisture barrier has been redesigned to put even more protection where you need it most. And that makes Depend better than ever.
That's better.
Yeah, well, you learn something new every day. Depend, because you've got a lot of living to do.
This advanced technology helps to diagnose arthritis, but to effectively relieve the minor pain of arthritis, use this, Advil. Advil contains the #1 doctor-prescribed pain reliever in its class, in non-prescription strength. Advil works directly at the site of arthritis pain, and nothing's been proven to last longer. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
And relief is even closer at hand with the Advil Easy Open Cap.
How broken is the welfare system, and how do you fix it? A debate between Senators Patrick Moynihan of New York and Phil Gramm of Texas on Face the Nation Sunday.
There's been a considerable amount of second-guessing in recent years, but at the time President Truman made the decision to use the atomic bomb 50 years ago, there was almost no controversy. He made the decision to drop the bomb in secret. No one questioned his authority to do it, and that was that. That he could do it so easily might seem hard to believe these days, and that is tonight's Washington Notebook, the evolution of presidential power in time of war.
Congress declared war against Japan after Pearl Harbor, and it was under that authority that Truman dropped the bomb.
That's exactly what the framers of the Constitution envisioned. Congress would declare war, and the president would decide how to prosecute it.
They wanted to divide the power. Congress has the power to declare war. The president is the commander-in-chief.
But World War II may have been the last time the responsibilities were so clearly defined. Truman sent American troops to Korea without a congressional declaration of war, and Congress went along.
The freedom of action of the president in foreign policy was infinitely greater in the Truman period than it is today.
But there was no clear victory in Korea, and by the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, some were beginning to wonder if presidents had too much power.
I have directed the armed forces to prepare for any eventuality.
By then, Americans had come to better understand the awesome power of nuclear weapons, and it was reflected in Congress, which began to push for a bigger role in strategy and decision-making.
The president had to react quickly. Was he acting defensively or offensively? Did setting up a blockade, was that an act of war? You know, those are going to continue to be gray areas as long as we exist, and demonstrate the awesome power of the presidency.
It was during Vietnam, America's most unpopular war, that Congress put the toughest restrictions on presidential war-making. It enacted the War Powers Resolution, which gave Congress the right to recall troops sent into a war zone for more than 60 days. Every president since has refused to accept the act as binding, but none has challenged it.
Even when they consult Congress, they say it's just a matter of grace, of presidential grace, that we're consulting Congress. We really don't have to.
And in fact, that is exactly how Ronald Reagan sent troops into action 16 times, George Bush 15 times, and Bill Clinton 10. But as George Bush did in the Persian Gulf, they all tried to rally public support beforehand, and they kept the intervention short.
The Constitution allows for a continuing tension, a struggle between presidents and Congress. Now we're in 1995, an assertive new Congress in the hands of a party opposite of the president's. It's going to be fascinating to see whether that continues.
For sure, the back and forth on what to do about arms for Bosnia shows the tension between Congress and the president is still there. But by law, we still give only one person in our government the right to launch a nuclear weapon, the president. And under certain circumstances, he can do it on his authority alone. That's still the most important thing to remember when we choose our presidents.
Ooh, okay, it's a little, whoa, short. What's wrong with short? He's short. I like short.
When you're working for a special look.
Hey, it's our anniversary. Oh, why not?
Part of getting that look should include Kellogg's Special K.
Big boy, he can take it.
Great toasted taste, just 110 calories, and fat-free. Kellogg's Special K. Great taste never looks so good.
This is too funny.
Ma, if you have trouble sleeping, take a Unisom. It helped last time, didn't it? Didn't you feel better after a good night's sleep? It's okay. The doctor said it's not habit forming. That's right. Unisom. Ma, there's nothing wrong with helping yourself get a good night's sleep. All right? I love you too.
Remember when life was simple? Well, we've made it simple again with Promise Bread.
It has less of what you don't want, and now more of what you do. A new, creamy, fresh taste. So get Promise and get smart.
I put 20 tomatoes in every jar.
When you taste Ragu Hardy,
Real sauteed mushrooms and onions.
you'll think it was made by a kitchen full of Italian grandmas.
Your family got to love the sauce.
Ragu Hardy. Taste what's gotten into Ragu.
All of Florida nervously sits and waits as Hurricane Erin approaches. A dramatic rescue at sea.
Hurricane Erin came ashore in Florida again, packing an 85-mile-an-hour punch.
Another week in America, as seen by the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Well, in the old Soviet Union, even consumers with money had trouble finding things to buy, but that is not the problem for post-communist Russians who are flocking to a new Moscow mall to part with their rubles. Jonathan Sanders checked out the excitement.
3-year-old Nastya has a ticket to ride. It's a summer tradition in Moscow's VDNK Park, and it's one of the only traditions untouched and unchanged in a park that was once communism's magic kingdom. In Russian, VDNK stands for the Soviet Exhibition of the People's Economic Achievement. For 60 years, the park was a 2,000-acre Soviet showcase where every monument carried the message of socialism triumphant. Every statue shouting out that the communists could do it better and bigger. No surprise, then, that it was also the perfect setting for revolutionary romance. A place where the comrades could cuddle secure in the promise of a golden future. That future failed, and VDNK was transformed. But make no mistake, it's still a shrine of sorts. Up on the altar, Marx has been replaced by the almighty god of materialism. Nowadays, behind every statue lurks a showroom. Today, VDNK Park is a massive shopping mall. The place to be for Muscovites with money to burn, and the best place to judge the pace of post-communist change. The socialist symbols may still stand tall, but the grounds are being overrun by cash and carry. The pavilion that once honored the Kremlin's conquest of space is today dedicated to conquering this country's final frontier, the Russian roads. And beyond what's a complete shopper's paradise, it's a celebration of everything the Soviet founding fathers despised. Forget about Stalin. Today the name of the game is Sony, Sanyo, and Samsung.
Trading market, VCR, VCP, TV set.
And today we have the very good market, very good business.
And it's not just about business, there's also a new culture come to life. Mall rats of the world, unite. All hail the Volga Valley girls. It may not be the best the West has to offer, but it all goes to show the more things change, the more we become the same. Jonathan Sanders, CBS News, Moscow.
And that's the news. Tomorrow on Sunday Morning with Charles Osgood, a revival of the pastime of rowboating. Then on Face the Nation, we'll discuss what, if anything, Congress is going to do about welfare. Democratic Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan on one side, Republican Senator and presidential candidate Phil Gramm on the other. I'm Bob Schieffer in New York. Good night.
Have you seen your country today?
Get your motor running at the AMA Grand National Invitational. Then the Macho Man Hector Camacho defends his welterweight title tomorrow on The Show.
This is CBS.